Blah, blah, blah. Hello there. So that is very fucking super hot or whatever. I'm watching The Necessary Conversation. It's an interesting YouTube show. You should watch it. Other people that never are going to see this. My future self, digital self. Brings up another thought I need to get on here, which is conservatives and especially old people old people fall victim to this because they're old and they've grown up in old ways, but conservatives too because they've been raised on this kind of notion by old people and religion and all the stuff that are stuck in there, but they are tied to the ideological kind of tenet that income has got to be tied to work and, work at a private company, more specifically. But that's not true. You can base an economy almost exclusively, really, you don't really need private companies at all. You can run everything. You can run an economy basically on anything you want. But my point being, not everybody needs to work for a private company. You can dish things out. Myself, I still spend money. Everybody on disability spends money in the national economy. And that money gets cycled. So when conservatives bitch about people on disability, it's money cycling through the economy. It goes into 50 million people's bank accounts every month, goes into private hands, rent, whatever. And if we taxed rich people, which we don't, but if we taxed rich people, i.e. landlords and businesses and stuff, effectively, it would then go back to the government, which would then go back to the people in disability, and it would be a constant cycling of the money. The only reason the government is losing money constantly is we're not taxing the rich people like we should be taxing them. If we taxed rich people and corporations like we should be taxing them, that portion that we spend on disability, for instance, would just be a constant cycling of that aspect of the economy. And then all that private stuff, all that private sector income would be the stuff that would be upcycling of the economy. It would be the budget surplus stuff that we could spend on whatever to build better roads, to build better infrastructure. So, when they argue against raising taxes and stuff, they're basically arguing that, well, we don't want to make, we need more profits. And, that's basically them saying, I want to be richer. I want my company to be richer so that I can just be richer, not so that I can pay my employees more. No. It's just the Ponzi scheme isn't Social Security. The Ponzi scheme is the big bullshit bill. That's the Ponzi scheme. And that is what it is. I mean, and again, these rich people. Let me also add this. These rich people they're businessmen and marketers for a living, and so that's what they're doing to the American public. They're being businessmen and marketers. They're being salesmen to the American people, and they're saying their sales pitch is these people on disability are taking all the money, when in reality, the people that are taking all the money are the people that are, taking all the money. So I don't know how more people can't see this as a very obvious, a blindingly obvious fact. It is, it's probably that they go to church, is what it is. I make this analogy of, if you go to church, you are indoctrinated to believe things. You go to church every weekend and you are indoctrinated to submit to the authority of authority. And if you don't go to church, you are not conditioned mentally in your brain to have that presupposition of believe. And so basically, if you just don't go to church, don't go to religion, don't go to that, it's much easier for you to just see through bullshit for the rest of your life. If you go to church and you listen to the bullshit through your formative years, which is, up to the age of, let's just say 18 to be on the safe side, you will basically be more susceptible to bullshit lies for the rest of your life. Because your brain will be I don't know, there's got to be some sort of neuroscience term that, it'll be like pre-wired or something like that. Be pre-programmed, be set up to accept garbage from the beginning, and not like willing to just kind of see objective reality. You will see things through the lens of whatever someone else tells you to see it as. So that's why I say, the Bible Belt is, you want to save the Bible Belt, you gotta burn down all the churches everywhere. That's, that's what they should have done. They should have burned down all the churches during the Civil War. And they went through every city. The army should have marched through everywhere, burned down the churches, and in their places built schools. Because that's the problem. I mean, there's too many fucking churches. And in this small town, there's like 50 churches. Well, not in the town itself, but in the county or something. And, that equals out to one church per, 20, 50 people, something like that. It's nowhere near that. It's nowhere near that in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, there's like, I can't remember. I think it's like 270,000 people, and there's probably 50 churches, 200 churches or something like that. So it's like 1,000 people to a church ratio. So it's like 20 times the ratio. And it's just, when you get that kind of ratio, you get dumber people. Not even just more gullible people, but you get dumber people. You get people that are less willing to think critically, and critical thinking is an integral part of building, gaining wisdom, which is just wisdom. And, I think it's my intuition that it's building the neural connections that allow for raw intelligence. And what I mean by that is the neural connections that are formed during your formative years. Now, I think a lot of those, probably 90+% are formed, in utero and during the first year of life, but number-wise, but probably the most critical ones are formed during the first 10 years of life. So it's not numbers that are the most important. It's the, how do I phrase this? The strength connection and interconnectivity. I don't know. You'd have to ask a neuroscientist. I'm just theorizing with this. The node connectivity. Again, it's just me thinking. It's just me bullshitting off the top of my head. But, talk to a neuroscientist. Talk to 10 neuroscientists. It's better. Because one is going to be the opinion of one. like I said, it's not the number of neurons, it's the, strength of the connections, the number of the connections, how they're connected, how fast the connections can fire to each other, all these differing kinds of things. So, what parts of the brain they're connected to, all these kinds of things. And if you only have simple connections and you only have a few, you're not going to be able to make the distinction between a bullshitter and a non-bullshitter. So, yeah. And I am bullshitting, but I'm not being disingenuous. Did I phrase that correct? I don't know. Something like that. Anywho, church is the problem. Not the intent of the church, but the end result of the church. Still, the church still gets you to hell. See what I did there? They paved that road with good intentions, didn't they? Anyway, boobs.